Hey guys, Creator Mom. I want to talk about privilege again a little bit, but and I also want to share a story. But the other day, me and my cousin were talking about privilege, and a lot of young people in their 20s, we noticed, are talking a lot about privilege and about how certain people are so privileged, and basically it's kind of like not fair, or that basically insinuating that that person can't be successful in their life and that other people are more successful than just due to their privilege. And we have some differing ideas. Like, my cousin thinks that the whole privilege thing matters. I don't think that it matters that much, because when you think about it, there's always going to be somebody who is a little bit more privileged than you, or a little bit more well off than you, or had an advantage, in the physical realm, some sort of advantage that you feel like you didn't have. But I feel as though no matter who you are or how much money you have, you can always find somebody who you think had a little more advantage than you. And then you could also find someone who has a little less advantage than you, right? If you want to think about it in this limited 3D perspective. I don't like this way of thinking. I feel like it's very limiting. I feel that it's also limiting, one, because it limits us and it makes us just mere men, when really we are also divine. We are both. We're divine and human, right? Christ in us, the hope of glory. We have been born with a measure of faith, all of us, to access what God has given us. Like, whatever, we all have access to Christ. We all have access to God. We have access to faith, which gives us an advantage, right? Jesus said, I have overcome the world, right? There is an advantage that we're all born with. I feel that we can all use to our advantage, no matter what you were born with in the 3D realm, right? So in a spiritual perspective, that mindset is very limiting. Another reason I don't like this mindset of focusing so much on how other people are so much more privileged than you and it's not fair is a devaluing. So I think it causes people to devalue others. So if you see a white, pretty woman who's successful and she's making billions of dollars in her business, some might look at her and say, well, it's because she's white. It's because she has blonde hair. It's because she's pretty. Like, she has all these advantages. She grew up, in a middle-class family, or they had some money. Her parents supported her. We could go on and on about that. But then we're also devaluing her at the same time, and we're saying the only reason you're successful is because you had these advantages. But how many people are born into families that have certain advantages that maybe don't become what we consider successful or whatever, and whatever that means? That's a whole nother story about our obsession with success. That's a whole nother story. So somebody born into what we would call privileged or advantaged, may not become as successful, right? Or whatever. And somebody who's born into what we would call poverty could become very successful. So, and I feel that sometimes people who are born into poverty become successful feel like they have maybe more of a right to tout maybe about, or that they are truly the successful ones because they have overcome more barriers or whatever. They didn't have the advantages that other person had who is successful. They had it easier, we think, right? But I don't think that we should do that, because comparing is never good. You're not in that person. You don't know everything in their life. You cannot compare your life to another person. You might wake up in their shoes one day and realize, wow, I'm glad I was actually born in this situation and not their situation, because I didn't know that about how they felt internally, or I didn't know that specific thing about their life. Like, it's just presumptuous that we think we know about people's lives just because on the outside we see they had money and they had 2 parents. Like, we just need to stop this. We're not minding our own business in that way and focusing on ourselves, right? Like, we're focusing on other people. And I think that when people get obsessed with privilege and victim and blaming other people. They're more privileged. It's like you keep yourself in a victim mentality, and you're saying you're not using the power within you, which is sad. You keep your focus on other people and you're complaining, and meanwhile you're not focusing on yourself. It's okay. So it limits people, it devalues people who do have accomplishments, saying that the only reason they had that is because of this and this and that, when that person still had to work. They still had to do something to get where they were, and if we think about it, like I mentioned earlier, you're more advantaged than someone else, and someone else is more advantaged than you. It doesn't matter. None of it matters. All that matters is you and your journey specifically, not what other people are doing or what other people have. There's always going to be somebody who has less than you too. And so what? Should we feel bad for that person? No, because that person shouldn't feel bad for themselves. We have to teach each other how to use the power within us. Because feeling bad for them, or saying, oh, wow, well, at least I'm not as bad as that person. What the heck? So what are you saying? Now you're limiting that person with your mindset. You're mad about the person in front of you for being more advantaged than you, and then you're feeling better than the person behind you because you're a little bit more advantaged than them. It's just completely the wrong focus, in my opinion. There is something, I think, that many of us, can find something to be grateful for, can find something that helped us along the way. Okay, something, just anything, right? Because nobody did it all by themselves. Even the person who came from poverty and made it all the way up, as they say, and became successful, they didn't do it by themselves. They did do it, but they also had help here and there, because their focus was set on what they wanted, and they, as you could say, maybe you could say, attracted, or they brought that, their energy brought that help, or maybe this little assistance here, right? Because they made up their mind about where they wanted to be, who they wanted to be. So whether you think you're privileged or not privileged, I think the bottom line is, if you set your mind to who you are, know who you are, know where you want to go and where you want to be, that is a very good place to start, and let everything unfold and manifest from there as you continue in your own journey and path, right? And along the lines of finding something to be grateful for, like today, right? I had to go drop off my car to get fixed, so I had to take public transportation back home. So I'm not very savvy with the public transportation around. I've only taken it a couple of times. And I get nervous, you know what I'm saying, about things. Well, anyways, a little bit. I get a little bit nervous. Like, I always want to make sure I do the right thing. So we walk down to the bus stop. We're waiting there for a while. Somebody comes along and says, hey, if you're waiting for this bus here, because there was a few buses that stopped at this bus stop. If you're waiting for this bus here, you better go to the next bus stop over. Like, you got to walk down to the next block, because there's construction going on and they can't turn down that road. See, I wouldn't have known that. I don't know the little nuances about taking the bus in that area, because I don't know where the bus turns, etc., etc. But somebody who lives down there and does this thing all the time, they know. So that was an angel in disguise. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was a privilege. That was an advantage. And, it's those little things like that that you're grateful for, because it's like, well, if you hadn't come along, I might have just been standing there, and I might have completely missed the bus, not knowing that they were going to come all the way down there, and they weren't even going to come to this bus stop, because I didn't know that the road they turn on has a giant hole in it, because it's, having construction. So anyways, long story short, came along, said, you gotta go to the next bus stop. We walked to the next bus stop, and then the bus guy didn't even stop there. He stopped like across the street on this other street, and it was just like a little bit confusing, but it still worked out, And I was asking the bus driver some questions, because I thought I was supposed to do a bus transfer, he wasn't being very clear. He was just like, oh, you need to stay on this bus. But he wasn't telling me that this bus actually turns into that bus number. You don't have to get off to do a transfer at like the terminal or anything like that. So don't be afraid to ask questions either, guys, because sometimes people act like this guy wasn't acting like he had the most patience and he was like so happy to help me. But I don't care, because when you have questions and you need to know where you're going, it doesn't matter if the bus driver is getting annoyed or he doesn't. Who cares? Just keep asking your questions until you get solid on what you got to do. Don't let people make you feel stupid for asking questions, because not everybody takes the bus all the time. You know what I'm saying? Nobody really takes the bus. Most people like drive. So it's just like, don't be afraid to ask questions. And I'm so thankful that that guy came along and told me to walk down further, I think that those are things we have to focus on in our lives, not who's more privileged than us, not who has more money than us, or even who has less money than us. Stay focused on you and what you want, and let that be your main focus, All right, I'm done ranting and raving. Have a great day.